Right on, right on. Everything has to be in modulation. You can't do too much or say too much. It turns people away sometimes. You just gotta, give it enough is just enough,
We give just enough, and sometimes that's really all it takes, right? So, somebody could have been having a bad day and saw that and it's like, you know what? Maybe humans aren't all that bad. Maybe humanity's not doomed to fail. Could completely change their perspective because someone else does care. And it's not just them. They're not out there alone. And I think that makes an important difference. But you would even possibly inspire other people to do something similar. I was listening to your story and the importance of how the absence of your father kind of changed you, right? And I feel like that's also something that's kind of a common thread with you and I. I didn't have a lot of support from my family growing up either, so I feel like I had to try all of these different things, right? Because I didn't have an opportunity to do that when I was younger. And so I know how that impacted me, right? I know that. So when I'm raising my sons, I did the exact opposite, right? I would tell them, do it. If you want to do it, try it. And one of my sons, the oldest one, Antonio, one day, he's like, you know what? When I grow up, I'm going to be Superman. I'm like, all right, that's cool. Let me make you a cape. I know as a mother, he's not going to grow up to be Superman.
Yes.
But he is a hero.
Mm-hmm.
He's 20 years old and he owns his own business. That's a hero.
Oh, that's amazing. That's a true heroic story.
If I had told him at such a young age that you can do whatever you want, if I would have stifled that dream and snuffed that out, life would be a lot different for him.
That's true.
Mm-hmm. And so I took that void that you and I have in common, right? I took that void and I filled it with something. And that's what you're doing now. So I want to recognize you for that too. That even though there may have been an absence in your life, you're now filling that. And it's not just for these kids. It's not just for the people that see you. But you are doing this for yourself as well. And I want you to acknowledge and feel that. Like you have the capabilities to give yourself those things that you didn't have when you were younger,
Yes.
And we have to do that now because I'm the same way. Like I feel like I had to live two childhoods, one that wasn't so great and then another one. I get this opportunity now that I'm older to do some of the things I never got to do. There was a lot of people that told me I couldn't do a podcast. There's a lot of people that said, you don't have anything anyone's going to want to hear about. And that started when I was like in second grade. So imagine the impact that had on me growing up as an adult.
Look at you now.
But I just wanted to say thank you for being you. Thank you for letting your light shine. I know that you're making an impact, even if you can't see everything. You're casting a really bright light. And so I just want you to know it touches a lot of people. And I want to thank you for that. So.
Thank you. Thank you for having me also. Yes, you're awesome. And I believe you're doing an amazing job. Although Riverside FM, which is the platform you're using for this podcast, it may not be broad. I'm sure you're making impact one person at a time. Your message inspires me to do better and to even do more. Your words mean a lot to me. That I shouldn't just settle for what I'm doing, but definitely, broaden myself and make more impact.
I appreciate that. We are in this little tiny podcast that I'm doing, right, is now on 9 different platforms and in 22 different countries. I have 22 different countries that listen to me. So
amazing.
I'd say that's quite a bit of an accomplishment for not having done this completely for 2 years yet.
Whoa.
So my audience is growing, and I welcome people from other countries to come on here. And you and I might be able to find somebody even in Ghana who has a story that they'd like to share. So
oh, yes. There's plenty of stories. Yep.
Educate us. I want the education. Give it to us. So we'll figure that out. That might be a future episode.
Right.
We did talk on a lot of stuff today. Is there anything that you would like to discuss that maybe we didn't or overlooked or a thought that came to you?
One thing that I want to really stress on is that we shouldn't be limited by fear. I always talk about fear to be false evidence appearing real. That's FEAR, false evidence appearing real. Many times people are scared of making the next move and the other move just because their mindset, imposter syndrome that we have to overcome. That's what we create the imposter syndrome just for ourselves. So it becomes a fear, something that's not there, but we just create it, and it just scares us from moving forward in life. And that's how we really do not succeed. And I'm actually reading a book, Failing Forward by John Maxwell, which is an incredible book that talks about being comfortable with failing, because the fear of failure is not really something that is going to get us to become successful. We have to embrace it, not just embracing it, just staying there, but utilizing that as a motivation to get to the success that we desire. One quote that I really like is that a bold attempt is half success. If you take that first step, that is going to put you on a pathway so that you can take the next step. A journey of 1,000 miles begin with a step. And if you master that step, you are on to success. One thing that I actually struggled with, which, is still a challenge, is starting something. But what I do always is just, I just need that kickstart. I need that kickstart to, get me going. And once I get on the path, I'm in a zone, and I create that momentum and I keep it going. And, along the way of everything, there's bumps on the road in everything. But you don't have to ever stop at a bump. Like when you get bumped, even, you don't have to just stay at the bump and say, oh, I can't overcome this. You have to push yourself. That's like one of the stumbling blocks or the challenge that you're going to face, right? So being open-minded and overcoming fear is something that we have to learn, because that's how successful people become successful. If you want to become rich, Bill Gates of the world, the Tony Robbins of the world, the Oprah Winfrey's of the world, they had to overcome something. And it's not the success that makes their story incredible. It is the failures and their level of perseverance is what really makes us adore them. Think about it this way. If you go through life without facing anything, if you watch a movie, right, and in that movie, the hero just was a hero, everything was successful, like he didn't have to overcome anything. He wakes up in the morning, just eat breakfast and get on the way, and everything is going smooth. You probably would think, oh man, this movie is boring. You want that action, right? You want him overcoming, like the hero that's like, having those, like I love action movies growing up. I liked the Terminator, which is like an incredible movie. He had to overcome a lot of obstacles, right? He had to really fight, he took some blows, he took some hits himself. And that's what makes a story incredible. That's what captivates people. And that's what motivates people to be like, oh man, Oprah Winfrey, oh man, that woman, she did amazing. She had overcome a lot. They said she could not host the podcast. They said Queen Bee, they said she could not hold a podcast. She proved them wrong. She was able to do it. Oprah, they said she could not even, communicate. She proved them wrong. She has one of the biggest network in the world, right? And she's a billionaire. So these stories of overcoming, to overcome and to get into our success is what makes our story incredible. So opportunities are there, right? Like now, maybe somebody could be starting a business and don't know where to go, but there's so many different things on YouTube that you can watch to inspire you and stuff like that. But for me, I encourage people to really buy into somebody that can help, finding a mentor, somebody that can really help them start something, somebody that is really going to motivate them to understand what success is, somebody that has been to where you want to be that you're not, but their person is there, person that has a fruit on the tree. That in itself is a motivator, because you become an average of your 5 friends combined. You can't just hang around the same people doing the same thing that are not looking to go anywhere. But if you're looking to become successful, you get with successful people. You look up, you don't look down, or you don't look horizontally. You always have to look up to somebody that is doing well in life where you want to be, and have the person become a role model or something, because you can be successful just being on the same level without pushing yourself towards that level. So I say that to say opportunities are great. There are several opportunities out there for anybody that is looking to thrive and get to the next level in life.
Absolutely. I think that's true. And like you said, sometimes it's just that fear of getting started. And I'm glad you brought up the movie thing, because I have this saying is you can't be the sidekick in your own story. You have to be the hero. We don't follow sidekicks to the end of the story. We don't follow the extras in the movie to the end of the story. We follow the hero. You're the hero in your own story. So if you're not willing to write the script, get out there and do something, then you're not actually living your story. You know, you become stagnant, like we talked about before. And stagnation is the opposite of growth. That's where we have decay. That's where we have rot. And that's not where I want to be. You know, I want to grow. I want to flourish. I want to see something, you know, prosper. And I want to see all these seeds that I've planted start to grow and bloom and flower. I want to know what they become, you know, and that's kind of the fun thing about the journey, right? When we do get started, we're just planting seeds. And along the way, we're watering it and our tribe is watering it. And if we are patient and diligent, then something comes from that seed. It's when we give up and we stop watering. You know, we stop giving to that seed, that thing starts to die even before it gets started. And we don't give it that opportunity to grow. So I believe all of what you said. Like, I think that it's great. And you were right about the fear aspect. If we're not willing to try, I mean, we're not going to get anywhere. We're not going to get the results we want for sure. They say the only way to win the lottery is to actually play it. And it's the same thing with life. You can't win at life if you've chosen to opt out. So.
Right. Like you said, you gotta play the lottery to win it, right?
That's right.
And I also have an analogy. If you want the seed to grow, you gotta plant it, right? And you can't just plant it and just leave it. You gotta water it, right? You gotta keep watering consistently, watering it. It may be hard. You may forget one day, but go back to it the next day. You know, water it. Put some water on it.
Right.
You know, put some water on it. And you know, it's just gonna have to cultivate, and then the harvest. There's a harvest season. So yeah, it's the journey.
That's what we're doing. We're watering every day. We get up and we water. We might take a day off, but we're watering.
Absolutely. Oh yes. We might, you know, every now and then you just got to give it time for the water to marinate, and you know, moisture the soil a little bit, and then you come back the next day, and then you know. So that's what we're doing. Life is all about planting a seed and watching the seed grow.
Yeah, and that's what we're doing. Quaku, I want to thank you so much for joining me today. And I will, of course, make sure that all of your contact information is in the description. If you guys are on Instagram, find him. It's Quaku, KWAKU .pet, PETS. And that's his Instagram account. Thank you again so much for joining me. I appreciate your time. I know that you've probably got a million things to do today. In all reality, I do too. But this was a great little break.
I'm sure.
So thank you again so much. And to my audience, until next time.